Inside Mario Andretti's car collection, the garage a Formula One champion actually built. A 1978 Formula One car that Mario Andretti drove to a world championship sold at auction for as much as $9.5 million, making it one of the 3 most valuable Grand Prix cars ever sold. That single machine is worth more than every other car in his personal garage in Nazareth, Pennsylvania combined. The same man who owns a dune buggy he won at the Indianapolis 500 also has a Lamborghini Countach with his own name stitched into the mirrors, and a Lotus that Colin Chapman personally handed him that later sold for less than a used Honda. This is the real garage of the only driver in history to win the Indianapolis 500, the Daytona 500, and the Formula One World Championship. Car number 10, the 1976 Lotus Elite, the gift that sold for less than a used Honda. This is the car that proves not everything in a legend's garage is worth a fortune. The 1976 Lotus Elite was personally handed to Andretti by Colin Chapman, founder of Lotus Cars, who wanted his star Formula One driver seen behind the wheel of the brand's most luxurious road model. The Elite was produced from 1974 to 1982 and was partially designed by Chapman himself. Andretti's example came equipped with red and cream leather seats, power steering, and automatic transmission, powered by a 2.0-liter engine producing 155 horsepower, with a 0-60 time of 7.8 seconds. Perfectly respectable for a grand touring car of its era. The Elite sat in dry storage for years before being sold, receiving only a new battery and minor service before going to auction. Despite the documented Chapman connection and Andretti's ownership, it sold for just £11,250, roughly the price of a well-used Honda. It is the most affordable car ever connected to Mario Andretti, and a reminder that provenance alone does not guarantee value. Sometimes a gift from a Formula One team owner is simply a nice car that happened to belong to someone famous. Nothing more. Car number 9, the 1948 Hudson Hornet, built with a stolen beer barrel. Before any exotic Italian machinery entered Andretti's life, there was a battered 1948 Hudson Hornet that he and his twin brother Aldo rebuilt themselves, using money earned working at their uncle's Sunoco station. The brothers refurbished the Hudson using a stolen beer barrel repurposed as a fuel tank. The car was ready to race when the twins were 19, but the minimum racing age was 21, so they convinced a local newspaper editor to falsify their driver's licenses. The Hudson became their entry point into competitive racing at Northampton County Agricultural Fairgrounds, the dirt track that became Nazareth Speedway. Aldo fractured his skull in an accident during this period and spent 62 days in a coma. The local police chief had spotted the license forgery, but quietly let it go to protect Aldo's health insurance. This Hudson has no significant monetary value by collector standards. Its value is entirely sentimental. It is literally the car that launched the Andretti racing dynasty before anyone outside Nazareth had ever heard the family name. Car number 8, the 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air, crashed 3 times before glory. When Mario's father, Elvis Andretti, was ready to upgrade from the family's 1946 Ford Super Deluxe, Mario and his twin brother Aldo had one specific request: a 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air. Their father ultimately found the Chevy not entirely to his taste and bought a 1951 Buick instead, which meant the red and white hardtop Bel Air, complete with its gold V badge on the front, was passed down directly to the twins. It became Mario's first official car. He upgraded it with a glass-packed muffler and fuel injection, modifications that hinted at the mechanical instincts that would define his career. He crashed it 3 times. Considering what came afterward, those crashes look less like accidents and more like apprenticeship. The Bel Air carries no significant auction value today, but it occupies a permanent place in the Andretti origin story as a car a future world champion learned, quite literally, how not to crash. Car number 7, the 1946 Ford Super Deluxe, the first car the family ever owned. Technically, this was never Mario's personal car. It belonged to the entire Andretti family. but its place on this list is non-negotiable because of what it represents. When the Andretti family arrived from Italy in June 1955, after an 11-day Atlantic crossing on the SS Conte Biancamino, landing in New York with just $125 in cash, the first vehicle they owned in America was a 1946 Ford Super Deluxe. It was a two-door convertible that could barely seat 3 people and accelerated from 0 to 60 in a leisurely 18.9 seconds. For a 15-year-old Mario crammed into the back seat, this slow Ford was the first American car he ever experienced. It carries no collector value whatsoever. It carries something more important. It was present at the exact moment the Andretti family's American story began. Car number 6, the 2009 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1, the one nobody would buy. In 2015, a silver 2009 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 appeared on eBay carrying a Pennsylvania license plate that read MA500, a direct reference to Andretti's Indianapolis 500 victory. Photographs in the listing showed Andretti posing next to the car himself, lending unmistakable authenticity to its provenance. The ZR1 replaced an earlier Corvette in Andretti's garage, featuring a supercharged LS9 engine producing well over 600 horsepower. Andretti was photographed with the car, finished in silver, with a black roof and chrome wheels. Despite the celebrity provenance, the auction closed on January 8, 2015, without meeting its reserve price. Nobody bought it. It remains one of the strangest footnotes in Andretti memorabilia. A car with genuine documented ownership by a legend that the market simply declined to value accordingly on that particular day. Car number 5, the 2001 Chevrolet Corvette Z06. Proof he is a Corvette loyalist. Before the ZR1, Andretti owned a 2001 Chevrolet Corvette Z06, purchased new in May 2001. As the car's first owner, he put approximately 5,000 miles on it before selling it, on a relatively light mileage figure that suggests this was a car he enjoyed rather than commuted in daily. Finished in quicksilver metallic paint with red trimmed wheels and a black and red interior, the Z06 was equipped with an aluminum block LS6 engine paired with a 6-speed manual transmission, producing 385 horsepower in a chassis that was, at the time, considered the most track-capable Corvette General Motors had ever built. Andretti has said outright, "I've had a lot of Lamborghinis and Ferraris," but the Corvette pattern across his garage tells its own story. This is a man who, despite owning some of the most exotic machinery Italy has ever produced, kept coming back to America's own sports cars, generation after generation, simply because he liked driving it. Car number 4, the 1981 Lamborghini Diablo, delivered directly to his door. This is the car that arrived at Andretti's home in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, brand new, with Andretti as its first and original owner. The Diablo's mid-mounted 5.7-liter DOHC V12 engine was rated at 485 horsepower from the factory, with a top speed of 200 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest street-legal production cars in the world at the time of its release. Andretti kept the car for years, before it eventually passed through several subsequent owners across the United States. But the original factory delivery to his own driveway adds a layer of provenance that few Diablos in existence can claim. The engine was removed, fully serviced, and reinstalled in 2021 to keep it running as intended. It has since been fitted with a Bluetooth system for modern convenience, though true to its 1990s engineering, do not expect the air conditioning to keep pace with anything else about the car. The red Diablo remains one of the most photographed pieces of Andretti's personal collection precisely because of that first owner delivery story. Car number 3, the 1984 Lamborghini Countach 5000S, the one with his name on the mirrors. Only 321 examples of the Countach 5000S were ever built, and one of them belonged to Mario Andretti, finished in red with a tan interior and custom pinstriping featuring Andretti's own personal logo. Even the side mirrors carry his name. The 5000S is powered by a 5.0-liter V12 paired with a 5-speed manual transmission, producing 371 horsepower delivered entirely to the rear wheels through a naturally aspirated, carbureted engine whose sound, by every account, modern fuel-injected supercars simply cannot replicate. The Countach first stunned the world at the 1971 Geneva Motor Show, and the example Andretti chose for his personal collection recently underwent a complete mechanical overhaul, returning it to factory-fresh condition inside and out. Andretti did not stop at one Countach. He also kept a 1989 25th Anniversary Edition Countach in his garage simultaneously, because, in his own telling, one Countach was clearly not enough for a man who has said plainly, "If I am ever feeling down, I go down there and start this car. I love the first rumble of the engine. I have a CD of Pavarotti, and I put that on." Of every car in his collection, this is the one Andretti has described in the most emotionally direct terms of any vehicle he owns. Car number 2, the Dune Buggy. 1. Not bought at the 1969 Indianapolis 500. Every other car on this list, Andretti purchased. This one, he won. After his historic victory at the 1969 Indianapolis 500, Andretti was presented with a Volkswagen-powered Dune Buggy fitted with a 1600cc air-cooled engine, a prize tied directly to one of the 3 races that define his unmatched place in motorsport history, alongside the Daytona 500 and the Formula One World Championship. More than 5 decades later, reports indicate Andretti still owns the buggy and still drives it around the Pennsylvania countryside near his home. He has been known to call out to people who recognize him, simply saying, "Wave if you see me." Of every machine connected to his career, the Dune Buggy holds no significant market value whatsoever. Yet it may be the single most personally meaningful object in his entire collection, tangible proof of the race that first made Mario Andretti a household name in America, sitting in a garage otherwise filled with European exotics that cost vastly more. Car number 1, the 1978 Lotus Type 79, the $9.5 million car that made him world champion. Here is the machine that towers over everything else connected to Mario Andretti, in financial value and in historical significance, by an enormous margin. Chassis 79-4, known to Formula One historians and fans simply as Black Beauty for its sleek black and gold John Player Special livery, is the actual car in which Andretti won the 1978 Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, and went on to clinch his Formula One World Drivers' Championship at the subsequent Italian Grand Prix at Monza, becoming only the second American ever to win the title. The Lotus 79 was a car that perfected ground effect aerodynamics, harnessing suction generated by underwing floors along each side of the chassis to press the car down onto the track and dramatically increase cornering grip, a concept so effective it became the gold standard of racing car design for decades afterward, and remains influential under current regulations that permit it. During the 1978 season, the Type 79 won 6 races, claimed 5 podium finishes, 10 pole positions, and 5 fastest laps, helping Lotus secure the most dominant single season for any constructor since Mercedes-Benz in 1955. Andretti and his teammate, Ronnie Peterson, became known as the Mario and Ronnie train for their repeated 1-2 finishes that year. The title victory carries a permanent note of tragedy. Peterson was fatally injured in a crash at the very race where Andretti's championship was confirmed, and Andretti dedicated the title to his teammate, a Swedish driver many consider among the greatest to never win a championship of his own. In February 2023, Bonhams unveiled this exact chassis as a headline lot for its inaugural auction in partnership with Formula One's Paddock Club at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, with a pre-sale estimate between $6.5 million and $9.5 million. That placed it among the 3 most valuable Formula One cars ever brought to auction, behind only the Fangio-driven 1954 Mercedes-Benz W196 that sold for $29.6 million in 2013. Mark Osborne of Bonhams Collector Cars described the Lotus 79 as one of 3 genuine historic revolutions in Grand Prix car design, alongside the 1932 Alfa Romeo Tipo B and the 1958 Cooper Climax, the first true rear-engine Formula One car. This single chassis, the exact machine Andretti drove to the only Formula One World Championship ever won by an American, who also won the Indianapolis 500 and the Daytona 500, is worth more than every Lamborghini, every Corvette, every Lotus Elite, and every Dune Buggy in his entire personal collection combined, several times over. It is not simply the most valuable car connected to Mario Andretti's name. It is one of the most valuable Formula One cars that has ever existed. Full stop. And it is the single machine without which this entire list and this entire career could never have happened the way it did.